Hi, I'm going to show you how to use AJC's prioritization matrix to prioritize processes that need to be improved, whether they're processes that are already in existence and maybe aren't accurate or they don't exist in a written form at all. So I'm going to share my screen to show how we do this. Okay, I have some processes up here already, and I'll list out what they are, and then we'll go through how to use the matrix. So we're talking about a PMO intake to prioritization process, so how you get in new projects and how you prioritize what the team will be working on. New project setup and implementation process, so once you've decided what you're going to work on, how you get it started and get it moving and running. Then in the areas of IT, let's say it's a laptop computer upgrade for an existing employee, whether their computer broke or it's old. The new employee IT setup process, so when you get a new person, how you get them onboarded with respect to all their information technology. And then let's call this one an information security concern, from realizing there was a problem to resolving that all the way through, including whatever communications are required for that. Okay, so here you see AJC's matrix. And for those of you who watched our Lunch and Learn a few weeks ago, you know that we allow these considerations or criteria to be described by the leadership team or whoever's putting these together. And for this case, we'll just talk about three pretty generic categories. So we'll say the frequency used, how often you're using this project, or excuse me, this process, how impactful or severe it is if this thing isn't done well, this process, and how effective it is today. So again, we said some of these might be in existence. You're probably doing this, just a matter of whether it's working well. And we will score them with 5 being the highest score, meaning either the most frequent, the most severe, or the one that's not working the most, and then go down. All right, so let's see how it goes. Okay, PMO intake to prioritization. Let's say we're doing that sometimes. It's not often, as in every week, but it's relatively often. So maybe at least 1 to 2 times a quarter. So let's put a 3. If we do this right or don't do it right, it has a high impact because it's deciding what we're going to work on as a company. So high impact. And let's say today it's just not working at all. Okay. Ignore what's going on here. As far as being regulatory, this is not a regulatory thing for us. We can decide what we want to work on. It's not compliance driven. In terms of new project setup and implementation, again, because we're prioritizing, about once a quarter or so, let's call it sometimes. But again, it's highly impactful to that project and how well it goes. So that's a 5. And then today it's happening. I wouldn't say it's great, but let's call it 4. I know that's not one of my numbers, but it's not terrible. But it's not really working okay, but it's not totally terrible. All right. Laptop computer upgrade, not often. This is happening rarely. It's very impactful though when it does, because it takes one of our valued employees out of commission for however long it takes us to do this. And, it's okay. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. We're not awful at it. By the way, neither of these things are compliance driven either, regulatory. New employee IT, we're hiring people. We're hiring people more often than we're giving existing people new computers. So let's give that a 2. However, they're not really functional for us yet because they're brand new. It's not that they won't be, but we've, gone without them since we hired them. So let's give that one, instead of a 5, let's give it a 3 as far as impact. It's okay, also about the same. I mean, we're not totally terrible at it. As far as regulatory, this one does have some components of regulatory in it, actually, because if we don't set them up correctly in terms of their email and their ability to see certain things, then that could be a problem for us. Okay, now here we are on the information security concern. This is anything from getting one of those spam emails that if you click on it, it puts a virus in your entire system, to actually inadvertently getting someone's data out there that it shouldn't be. So this is happening. Those emails happen often. Maybe not super often, but I would say let's give it a 4. Reasonably often. People are constantly wondering what's going on here. And as far as the impact, it's huge. All right. It's working. We are jumping on these things, but it's just completely derailing us from everything else that we do because it's very, very reactive and we seem to do it differently every single time. So not working super well. I'm going to give it a 4. All right. And regulatory, again, yes. Okay. Now we've got some scores and something to work on, specifically these 2 columns. So what we're going to do is we are going to sort these data, sort, and we're going to first sort it by our regulatory column. We want that to be largest to smallest, so the ones go on top. And then we're going to add a level, and we're going to sort it on the priority score from largest to smallest. Okay, great. So now you can see here are the two processes that are scoring highest as far as regulatory, and this one is really the highest as far as our overall score. So we really have to work on this one first, 100%. If we have enough resources, we should probably add this because it is an employee. It is something that we need to get taken care of for a regulatory reason. It shouldn't be too hard. And then this last one, PMO intake to prioritization, this is a big deal for us again. And so we're going to see, especially since it's a different team, we're going to try and get this one cranked out also. All right. I hope that is helpful. You can see here in just a few minutes, we were able to score these and to prioritize them. And now we know what we need to work on first. All right. Thanks.